Hello, everybody. Welcome back to GoRacers.com. I'm here with Hilary McAdam. She's a member of the Murray State track and field team. Just she's currently in Australia right now, her homeland. So that brings me to my first question of how exactly does somebody from Australia end up at Murray State?
It was a pretty quick thing that happened. It wasn't something I'd really planned on doing. And then I just we got asked to come down to it's like an interview day, and they were just telling us about college in America. And before you know it, they were saying like, come down, we're going to do an interview with you. And then they're like, well, within the next week you have to decide on whether or not you want us to help recruit you to go to America. And so then within a week we're like, okay, yeah, sure, we'll go, we'll do this. And so then they set up a website for me, and it had all my running information, my PRs, videos of me. And then Coach Jenny at the time found that website, and she contacted me. And yeah, so I liked the sound of Murray, and yeah, that's where I ended up.
So was the first time you set foot on campus your freshman year, or did you like make any visits beforehand?
No, I'd never seen Murray. I'd only seen the few photos that were on the internet before I came.
What was as a freshman, what was your biggest adjustment to living in the States now?
Um, I don't. I mean, I don't think the adjustment was too big. I think it was just overall similar to what a lot of people moving away from home would go through. Um, there wasn't too much of a culture shock, and it was really easy because I had friends to go to straight away, seeing as I was a part of a team automatically. So it was pretty easy for me. I think it was just being so far away from home and having to like work out the time differences and things like that, because 17 hours was definitely hard to contact my mum and dad. Um, and I guess probably sharing a room with someone, that was different.
So then, specifically your track and field, your freshman year, I don't believe you qualified for your main event is the 800 meter, but I don't believe you qualified for the 800 meters in the indoor or outdoor. But what did you maybe take away from your freshman year that helped you in your future?
I definitely learned that regardless of if you've had a good season going into a conference meet, it often ends up being more of a tactical race. And as a freshman, I wasn't a very smart 800-meter runner, and I had to learn a lot of how to actually race the 800 and adjust to different types of races. Sometimes they'll go out really fast, sometimes they'll go out really slow, and you just have to learn to adjust quickly within the races. And I think that that's what I definitely started to be able to do.
So then your sophomore year, the outdoor championships, you win your first 800 meter OVC title. What was that like? Just crossing the finish line first and that moment.
Well, that conference meet was actually the first time I'd ever made a final in all of my time at Murray. And I remember talking to Coach Wallace right before that race, and I'd qualified first going into the final, but I didn't really think I would win. And because there were a lot of really good races. And I mean, the only reason I'd gone in first was because I had to like sprint the heat because I was so nervous that I wasn't going to make a final again. So I like went out really, really fast in the heat. But I do remember saying to her right before that final, I was going to try and win. And she just said to me, well, it'll just be a cherry on top if you do win the race, because you've already made a final, which is a goal for you this year, and you broke 2:12, which was also my other goal. And so, I mean, that race was definitely an interesting race, and it kind of came down to a 200-meter sprint, which was obviously good for me. So yeah,
Mhm.
it was a fun race. I will definitely always remember that.
And then your junior year, you end up sweeping both the indoor and outdoor 800 meters to win technically three straight 800 meter titles. But like you said, you really learned how to become an 800 meter runner because in both those races your junior year, the prelim race you did not qualify first, which a lot of races you'll see, the people qualify first and they win the whole thing. But so like, do you think that gives you an advantage maybe that like you kind of that the other runners maybe thought they they had a leg up on you because they beat you in the prelim race, but now it's the final, like you're a different runner?
I don't know if I had a leg up. I think that a lot of the people I ran against knew that I did have a kick at the end of my 800s. Um, I think that I just became more confident in being able to run a slower prelim and was able to, I guess, save my energy so that for the final I was more fresh. And a lot of the girls that I did race against also had to run 1500 meters or the mile as well. So often going in, because I'd run a slower prelim, I was always quite a lot fresher than the rest of the girls I was racing against.
Then also, you're also kind of unique to, like, you don't really run the 1500-meter, but you do run cross country in the fall. And then you also, for track meets, you're part of the 4x400 relay team. So you kind of get a mix of really long distance and more of a sprint. What does each of those events help you to become a better 800-meter? How do you use each of those events to do that?
Well, cross country for me, I was not very good at in terms of mentally staying tough for a full 5 kilometer race. I found them really, really hard, and I found the training really, really hard for cross country. And I definitely think that just cross country as a whole just made me more of a stronger athlete and better in just terms of holding on at the end of a race. And it made only having to run 2 minutes so much more easy, as it's such, like, I don't know, it's almost 17, 18 minutes shorter.
Mm-hmm.
So of course it's going to be easier. And then the 400, that just helps with the speed part of the 800, because at the end of the day, the 800 is a sprint and it's not a very long distance race. And I don't think you can be great at the 800 unless you do have some speed. So.
And finally, your season unfortunately got cut short this year, the outdoor season. But what would you say that was your greatest memory here at Murray State? What would you take away the most from it?
I think I'll probably take away our championship that we won my junior year. That was definitely a highlight, and it's something you don't get to experience often as a track athlete, just because it's such an individual sport. And that few days we spent as a team, and I was running for my team, and yeah, it was definitely a special experience to win that with everyone.
All right, that's Hilary McAdam. She's a three-time 800-meter OVC champion, and she'll thanks again for joining me today.
Thank you.